Awakened Shemira is an intelligence-based tank-class hero from the Graveborn faction who specializes in tanking, supporting her teammates, and dealing a decent amount of damage. And in today's video, we're going to take a look at her skills and abilities, her teams and uses, and whether or not it's worth investing in this hero. So let's get into it. Her ultimate ability is Soul Siphon. This makes her take less magic damage, and when taking physical damage or damage that ignores defense, 70% of that will be converted into magic damage. Actively, she's going to deal damage 3 times to all enemies equal to 15% of her max health. Then she's going to pull the soul out of the nearest and farthest enemy and generate an ephemeral spirit that lasts up to 5 seconds. Now these ephemeral spirits have 50% of their hero's health and 30% of the defense, and any damage they take, 70% will be passed on to the hero that they were pulled from. However, this cannot exceed 50% of Shemira's max health, and up to 2 ephemeral spirits can be pulled out of each enemy hero. Her next ability is Dreadful Dance. For this one, anytime an enemy hero receives an effect that reduces their energy or prevents energy recovery, she's going to launch a Tortured Soul at them that's going to deal damage to all enemies along its path. Now, this damage cannot exceed 10% of Shemira's max health and can only be triggered 3 times every 10 seconds, but on top of that, it's also going to heal the ally with the lowest health percentage by 7.5% of Shemira's max health. Her signature item is going to provide the skill ups for this ability. At base, when an enemy hero takes damage from a Tortured Soul 3 times, they will get a permanent defense reduction which can stack up to 4 times. At level 10, after they've taken Tortured Soul damage 3 times, their energy recovery will be permanently reduced by 25%. However, this one cannot stack. At level 20, for every 5 Tortured Souls that she launches, the next one will be enhanced and reduce 100 extra energy upon dealing damage and prevent the target from recovering energy for the next 2 seconds. Then at level 30, when she launches a Tortured Soul, she will also launch another one at the enemy with the lowest health percentage. Then we have Soul Sanctuary. For this one, Shemira is going to grant herself and the ally with the lowest health a Soul Sanctuary effect for 5 seconds. Now, if this effect is going to dispel most debuffs from the ally and provide them with immunity to control effects. And while this is active, direct damage from a single strike that they receive cannot exceed 60% of the target's current health, and upon taking damage, it's going to launch a Tortured Soul at the attacker, and only up to 1 Tortured Soul can be activated this way during the effect. On top of that, when the effect ends, the ally will be healed for 25% of their lost health. Her furniture will provide the skill ups for Soul Sanctuary. At level 3, when casting this skill, Shemira targets the enemy hero with the highest total damage and will generate 1 ephemeral spirit from them. Then at level 9, when Shemira or 2 allied heroes behind her take fatal damage, they will become immune to that damage and will gain the Soul Sanctuary effect, and it can be triggered up to 1 time per allied hero per battle. And then we have a Delay Death. Now this is a passive that can be activated once per battle on each hero. When an allied hero is defeated, Shemira is going to delay their death and keep them fighting for up to 5 seconds. Now if the target is defeated by an enemy hero, the attacker's soul will be pulled out and produce an ephemeral spirit. The allied hero will then die when the effect ends, or if they are defeated again while the effect is still active. Her engraving is going to provide the skill ups for Delay Death, and at level 30, when this effect is triggered, the allied hero is going to become untargetable and gains immunity to control effects for 2 seconds. And then at level 60, if the ally defeats any enemies during the effect while it is active, the effect's duration will be increased by 3 seconds. And finally, we have her Awakening passive, Shadowless Flame. For this one, when an enemy hero suffers a total reduction of 400 energy, or they receive an effect that prevents energy recovery, Shemira will pull out their soul and generate an ephemeral spirit. This, however, can only be triggered up to 2 times every 12 seconds. Then on top of that, the next control effect that an ally hero inflicts on an enemy will reduce their energy by 100, and this can be triggered once every 12 seconds per allied hero as well. Awakened Shemira is a very versatile hero. She is very tanky in herself and can take up a front row position. She helps her allies survive. She has healing. She has decent damage, and she has decent disruption for her enemies. And this means she can be splashed into just about any team, whether it be burst teams where you really want to get a specific character's ult off and you need them to survive long enough, or whether it be longer control-based stall teams where she can consistently deal that extra damage, bring out ephemeral spirits, and amplify the AoE damage of her teammates. But in this video, we're going to take a look at her in the team of Awakened Shemira, Tamris, Odin, Pharrell, and Tassie. Now in this team, Tamris has one main use, and that is to group the enemy team up. Now he can start in the front row because we have Shemira to delay his death, so even if he would otherwise die, she can keep him alive long enough to serve his purpose, which is to group the enemy team. After that, he can perish. It doesn't matter, his purpose has been served. Then we have Odin. Odin has two great synergies in this team already between Awakened Shemira and Tamris. After Tamris groups the enemy team, that means Odin, when he portals an enemy, it will always land on top of the group of them, meaning it will stun the whole enemy team. On top of that, Odin has energy reduction effects, which is going to synergize really well with Awakened Shemira. Then we have Pharrell. Pharrell is here once again to add more control with his fears, but also he does have the energy reduction effects, which is going to synergize really well as well. Then our final spot, we've taken Tassie. This is a flexible slot that you can change around with different units. We've used Tassie here because the enemy team is heavily Graveborn based and she can teleport away from Nara. But essentially, she helps the team because she does help control that enemy team, and that is what this team is all about, controlling and dealing consistent damage to those ephemeral spirits as they come out until we can get the job done. As for artifacts on Awakened Shemira, the Barricade is a fantastic one to help her support her teammates even better. However, you can also use the Waistband of Resilience for some more personal tankiness on Shemira herself. So with all that out of the way, how far do we want to invest into Awakened Shemira? Being an Awakened hero, if you're going all the way to get her to Mythic, then Ascended, then 1 star to get her signature item, furniture, and engravings, you're really going to want to invest into it fully. However, if you are short on resources, there are some areas where you can cut down. The first of which is going to be her signature item. Her 30 is nice to have, but not essential, so you can leave her at 20 while you gather resources or focus in on other more important units that you have to allocate to. Her furniture, however, you really do want to go to 9. It adds a great survival technique to Shemira's kit and is definitely worthwhile. And then for her engraving, once again, level 30 is really nice and recommended to pick up. However, her level 60 is a bit more niche and you won't always be activating this. So once again, if you've got other heroes that have really important 60 engravings, you can focus on those ones first. So that is going to be it for Awakened Shemira, a classic hero reawakened into the new era of AFK Arena. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day and we'll look forward to seeing the next one. Cheers.